Hey guys, it's Game Ace, and today I'm going to show you how to mod an Xbox 360 wireless controller. Before you begin, you want to turn over your controller and take out the battery pack, and you look under the black part and into the green behind there where my finger's pointing. You should see the letters in white, TP3. If you don't see that, you don't have a resistor in your controller, and this mod will not work for you. Okay, so take out your battery pack since you don't want to get electrocuted, and remove the screws. There are 7 screws in total. 2 over here, 2 here, 2 here, and then there's one hidden behind the serial barcode. If you remove this screw, your warranty will be void. So, you know what you're doing. If you mod this and your controller breaks for some reason, you can't send it back to get it fixed. I will also not be held accountable for any damages done to your controller. Okay, so I already removed almost all the screws except for these bottom 2 ones. You're going to remove the screws with a Torx T8 security bit screwdriver. It has to be a security bit because there's a hole in the middle of it which allows for the pin that sticks up in the screw. So make sure it's a Torx T8 security bit screwdriver, size T8. Okay, so as I said, you remove everything except for these bottom 2 screws because Microsoft makes it so that the screwdriver can't fit in. So what you're going to want to do is take a Phillips head screwdriver, put it in one of the holes, and sort of just work the plastic down around the hole so your screwdriver fits in. This takes a little while. You're probably not going to want to use a Dremel for this. I've tried it. It sort of screws up the job, and instead of making it kind of smooth like the screwdriver does, it makes the plastic curl up, and it's hard to get off and everything. Okay, so once that's in, you have to move your screwdriver around a little bit until you feel that it catches the screw. There you go. And remove the screw. You're going to want to make sure that you keep the screws in a container of some sort because it's really easy to lose them. I have a couple extras that I got from a broken controller, but if you lose them, you're pretty much screwed. What I said about the Dremel, you can, even though you shouldn't use it to work out the edges, you will, or you don't have to, but you might want to use a Dremel to maybe smooth down some of the edges because sometimes they get a little bit sharp. I got this one right here, but Alright, so then that's that. I'm going to speed up this second screw. Okay, now that you have the screws out, and sorry about that one took me a little while longer, you're going to want to hold just the front part of the controller, because there's 2 sections, and you're going to want to hold that and then push on the joysticks, and it'll pop right out. Now you have all these buttons and everything. Make sure that you put them in a spot where you'll remember them. I'm going to put them back in the box with the screws. There's also a part on the front of the controller. Generally comes out. It's that. Part of the Xbox ring. And the two back buttons. This here is the bumpers. You're going to want to make sure you keep that. And then this part, which is the bottom of the controller. You can leave the joysticks in if you want. I'm not going to because I don't want to run the risk of accidentally touching them with a soldering iron, which is what we're going to use later. I made that mistake once and sort of burnt it. Here's a joystick. Made a nice ugly burn mark right there. That was my first one. Okay, so you want to ground yourself, so touch something metal that isn't painted or anything like that, like a screwdriver, because you don't want to carry any static shock and screw up your controller circuit board. Alright, so now press in the joysticks, the triggers, and push the controller up, and it should come out like that. Now, you have two rumble packs in the back. You have one rumble pack which is the has a smaller little thing on the end, and one that has a bigger one. Believe it or not, the smaller one rumbles more. So you're going to want to, when you take one on the mat, you're going to want to switch them so you keep the small rumble pack. So use like needle nose pliers or something like that, or your fingernails. I have a friend who could use it with his fingernails. I always need to use pliers. I can't seem to find them. I don't know. I'll try it with my fingers. And you should be able to wiggle it right out. There you go. Right out of the socket right there. Fairly easily. Okay? Now the big one you could just discard. You do not need it anymore. Taking out one of the big rumble pack will not impact what you feel on your controller. It will not. You can't feel the difference. Believe me, I've modded like 6-7 controllers by now for my friends and everybody. Okay? So take out the big one, and the small one is going to be where the big one was. We're going to be installing a push button. You want to get a normally open push button. I got this one. You want to make sure it's kind of like small on the back, or you could use these. You could get a bunch of them for like $3, 4 push buttons for $3. But I'm gonna use this one because it's a little bit better. And because you're going to be installing a push button on the back of the controller, you're going to have to take out one of the rumble packs because it won't fit. So, line it up. Make sure you're going to be putting the push button on the right side of your controller. And this push button will be a substitute for the trigger. Which means that you will not need to use your trigger anymore. You can just use the push button. Okay? This is also the simplest way to do it. You don't have to install any circuits or anything like that because you're just using a button. You're not, reconfiguring the whole thing. So, you're going to want to now put the smaller rumble pack on the left side of the circuit, which is the right side on the back, but I'm talking about the left side on the front. And that should just go right back in. Try not to damage the pins. There you go. So, there you go. That's part one.